You're listening to Create Wealth Through Franchising, and I'm your host, Kim Daly. In my 20 years as a franchise consultant, I've helped hundreds of people achieve their dreams of building and scaling franchise businesses to create wealth. The interview you're about to hear can also be found on my YouTube channel, where I post new franchising content multiple times per week. Please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and to my YouTube channel at kimdaly.tv. Now, enjoy the show. Welcome back to Kim Daly TV. My special guest for us today, she's here with a new brand, but she's not a stranger to the studio of Kim Daly. Please welcome Heather McPherson. Heather, welcome to the studio of Kim Daly TV.
Thank you so much, Kim. I really appreciate the opportunity to spend a little bit of time with you. It's always a highlight.
I love it. So if you followed Kim Daly, you may know this face and this beautiful human. She used to work with a different brand, but it's very common in franchising that, when you run out of territory or you've just been doing it for a long time, you're ready for a change. Heather has now become a consultant with a company called BrandONE, and BrandONE is bringing some really great franchise opportunities to Kim Daly. Heather and I are going to highlight one of those brands that I am very intrigued about. So if you follow Kim Daly, you know that I'm not really the food and retail girl. I'm not really into the franchises that everybody comes to me asking me about. The Orange Theories, the Chick-fil-A's, the Jersey Mike's, we're not going there if you're working with Kim Daly. Well, I can't say we're not going there. You got to call me and we'll have that conversation. But when I find these little businesses that Heather is about to present to us, it's like now we're talking about an executive investor who's going to get excited about a financial future, an opportunity to really build and scale wealth, working B2B, long-term sustainable, low investment to start, but highly scalable as you go, bigger than average margins. These are the characteristics that excite Kim Daly, and I think excite a lot of my listeners out there once you move past your own notion that franchising is only food and retail. So with that introduction, Heather, let's have some fun talking about the true value proposition of this 27-year-old brand that's a brand new franchise called 1-800-STRIPER. Oh, yeah, just what everybody wanted to hear.
Yeah,
so what the heck is 1-800-STRIPER?
I have to say, we do have a lot of fun with that name. That's for sure. And it's striping parking lots, a lot more than that. But think about how many parking lots there are as you drive your neighborhood. It's an endless opportunity. We like to say there's riches in the niches.
Riches in the niches. So guys, did you hear what she said? It's striping parking lots. Isn't it this is a little bit mind blowing to you that you're like, I could own a franchise that stripes parking lots? I probably never even thought about the lines in a parking lot. So let's back up and talk a little bit about who the customer is. How did 1-800-STRIPER get started? Tell a little bit of that corporate story. And then we're going to talk about, as they've grown and defined kind of who their customer is, why they decided to turn this into a national franchise.
Beautiful. Yes, I greatly appreciate that. So this is a brand that goes back well over 23 years, and it started in Rochester, New York. What happened was our founders were part of a pavement sealing company, and they saw this completely fragmented area where people were not given the opportunity to have an ease in the market of getting the striping done. Because most of the time, pavement sealing, striping companies, they really don't do the striping. They want to do all this other stuff, and then they vend out the striping piece to what we call a check in the truck. So very fragmented. I mean, very, very fragmented. And it's a need-based business. It's something that has to get done. So they collectively got together, got some old equipment, and started this business. They were very young. The founders of faith-based organization were 19 and 20 years old that long ago. And they poured their life into this business. There's not anything that they don't know about every single piece of this opportunity. It's not just drawing lines. There's an art to it. There's a skill. And this service offers well beyond paint. We're building relationships. Our communities are, from quality and bringing in integrity. There's a lot that needs to be done over here. And we're excited to bring it to the nation for sure.
I I love it. So it's business to business. So the customer avatar then for the franchise owner is who?
So there's really three buckets if you want to kind of put it in that direction. And what we're going to talk about is that pave and ceiling companies. Those are really an easy way to get into the opportunity because think of them like the baker. They're getting in there and they're repairing a parking lot and they're sealing it or they're redoing the whole thing. And then 1-800 Striper comes in and does the best part, the frosting. We stripe it. So that's one of our clients or customers, if you will. The second one is more of your property management companies. They have multiple properties they're responsible for. They get that rent and triple net, and they need to make sure that these parking lots are on point, the beautification of strip malls and business centers. So there's a liability to make sure they're safe. So we partner with them, and then they have multiple properties that need this kind of service. So that's a third avenue. And then, of course, our B2B friends, whether it's, I'm going to say it, McDonald's franchise owners that might have multiple locations, or your Rite Aids, or your Targets, even into the Amazon world. We stripe it all. It's pretty fantastic. So that's how we really have those three customers. And it's three different, completely separate relationships.
Hey, Daly Coach fans, if this franchise sounds like a fit for you, I would love to be your Daly Coach. Email me right now for a totally free consultation at inquire@kimdaly.tv. Does the owner of this business need line striping experience?
There's no school for that. Of course
We're going to
not.
go to line striping school. You heard of Hamburger University? Now we're going to have striping school. All right, I love it. So you don't need experience, but so let's talk about the personality traits of your ideal candidate. I think I already know what they are, but why don't you tell us a little bit about who you're actually looking for, and are they full-time or part-time?
Well, that's a good thing. Our franchise business owners, they're buying into a proven model, proven systems and processes, right? So what we're looking for as far as owners go, we want to see a solid communicator, someone who's really good at networking and sales skills. We always want them to be an early adopter because even though the brand's been around forever, we're just stepping in. We just got a new franchise owner in Jacksonville, Florida. Very excited about that. And he's got this big vision. So he really sees the growth opportunity at what we say green space. There's a lot to be had. Ability to scale with this simple model. You're simply adding a truck. Really easy to do. Customer service focus. That's part of the riches and the niches, is really building on those relationships and be able to manage a team.
And so those owners are the ones going out building the relationships, Heather, or do you have semi-absentee owners coming in and hiring people to go build those relationships?
Absolutely. So you've got the front of the house and the heart of the house, if you want to break it down in that perspective. So whatever skill set they're comfortable with, whether it's sales or just managing through that manager that's going to focus in on sales and building that relationship, either one works. So there's lots of opportunity for semi-passive as well as hands-on.
What I really see like as a kind of like a core customer or candidate for this opportunity, like a pharmaceutical sales rep or medical device sales rep, somebody that's used to building long-term sustainable relationships with sort of bread and butter businesses out there like doctors, right? And then flipping that to this is more of a blue collar trade, but again, these are long-term sustainable relationships, right? It's not like you're going to stripe the parking lot one time. I mean, the sun and the weather are going to wear that away, right? Like, so these are being done on some sort of regular basis, whether it's annual or whatever, but these are reoccurring relationships.
Yeah, so the reoccurring revenue model is definitely a big stronghold here. It does need to be restriped, a reflective white paint every 12 to 18 months. And you mentioned on the medical side, I mean, we have hospitals. They have to be safe. We have to be able to make sure that the ER, where the ambulances are going, rules change. So they call us to expand and make it larger. Think school districts, think rehab centers, think daycare, senior care locations, park and rec, anything that needs to have paint. We can do logos. It's endless, absolutely endless.
Hey, Daly Coach fans, if you're inspired by this conversation, I invite you to email me right now to explore this franchise opportunity. My email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. So going back to why this is like a business that is super intriguing to Kim Daly is, when you think about how she started the conversation about the ceiling companies, right? So then you're thinking about big, heavy equipment with a lot of liability, right? Probably people that have like CDL licenses that are responsible for driving heavy, heavy equipment. And there's a lot of liability to that. Well, when you think of like line striping, I mean, the piece of equipment, I mean, what is it? In my mind, it's sort of like is going to look like the guy that fertilizes my lawn. Like it's like a smaller piece of equipment without a lot of complicated factors to it, right? Where I'm not worried about all that liability as an owner.
No, you're not, because again, it's a 16-foot box truck and there's no special licensing at all for the truck itself. Think like I go rent a U-Haul truck, same kind of thing. So no
Okay.
special licensing. You've got five machines. Four of them are painting machines of stripers. And then you think of like a lawnmower. It's like that. It's super simple to push them.
Right.
But the fifth machine, that's a ride-on, and it's got all the bells and whistles. It's computerized and lasers, and the paint machines hook up to that to make it very simple. You could literally stripe all day long. If you think of the labor model, it is so clean and so simple. You really only need two people per truck because of the type of equipment we have. So you've got your lead guy and in charge of the job, and then you've got your assistant who's just basically moving stencils and refilling paint. But if you're talking about your labor, think about people that are out there and they're doing roofing and concrete work and their backs hurt and they want to find something that they can do, that they can love, and it's easy on their body. So we really have retainability here with our labor force. It's pretty incredible.
I really like it. I like that it's sustainable, it's reoccurring, it's B2B, it's a small team, low liability, lower investment than needing like big brick and mortar and a lot of, heavy equipment so you can scale as you grow, right?
Yeah.
Take on that equipment as you grow, and then that equipment will have some depreciation to it. So for those people that are looking for those depreciable assets, this type of business always sort of falls good into that category. But on the flip side, right, there's probably, I mean, is there any accounts receivable, or is it like, you pay, we stripe, you pay?
I like that you said that too, because cost of goods and labor is under 30%. We almost have no credit card banking charges. Most of it is straight pay, check. Hospitals tend to be a 30-day, 60 days come back to you. But we also have no aggregators. So think of other businesses where you have to have Angie's List or Grubhub for restaurants that's taking your profits away. This we don't need that to advertise our services. So therefore, our fees are consistent. They're not discounted, whether it's to a sailing paving partner or a property management or B2B, they all pay the same. It's more about being transparent, having average high tickets. People don't ever argue about that. They just want to know that you'll be there. Will you be there on time? When we need you, time and time again, the answer is yes. We're your local striping company, 1-800-STRIPER.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
It's so simple, it's so clean, but again, it's just not a business that I think anybody would ever say, "Oh yeah, like I'm calling Kim Daly to go learn about line striping," But then you come to me and I'm like, "Hey, your dream business is line striping," Interesting. But as you have an open mind and you get to learn the story, the kind of how this company got started and why they feel now is the time, after all the due diligence that they've done in building their systems and operating procedures, that now they're ready to help you somebody coming into the industry, learn from them, be mentored by them, and build your own line striping business. So you mentioned green space, which means wide open territories. That's what Kim Daly hears, correct?
Correct, 100%. Speaking of that, our territories are comprised of about 350,000 population for a single market. But more than that, it's about how many businesses are there. So we look at a base of 12,500 to 13,000 businesses. It's again, there's just that the average ticket is high compared to the marketplace. It's very exciting, and so much is out there. I mean, bring on the big business. We're here to help after all these years. One other thing I wanted to mention, Kim, is as it's stepping into franchising, being such a mature brand, unusual. I've been in franchising forever. I have not heard of a franchisor that's taken 5 years, very carefully planning and plotting to be the best franchisor to new coming franchisees. You get a lot of love from these people.
Yeah, this isn't going to be the right opportunity for everybody out there. I mean, Heather and I are working very closely right now at the time of this recording with a candidate. And I was just saying to him just yesterday, this opportunity is not right for everybody, and I'm not judging you. And I mean that I love the product itself, but in terms of the pioneering nature of the franchise, right? So there's not a lot of validation you can get from other franchise owners. So a year from now, the people that are saying yes will be those first validators, but you've got to have that more entrepreneurial spirit, that more pioneering spirit that's okay with a lot of uncertainty, but with a lot of support. Like what I've said to my candidate is, look, if you're not successful, they're not going to get to 25 or 50 or 100 franchise owners. So the people who come in early, those early adopters, kind of get more love and attention from the founders because they have more time and energy to give, but also because if you're not successful, their franchise isn't growing. But again, that's not the right investment strategy for everybody. But if you're listening to this and you do like being on the cutting edge and you like the idea of entering into kind of a simple business model, that might have wide open territories where you live, that you could get these business to business relationships started that will just repeat. You don't have a lot of labor. You don't have high liability here. And Heather can teach you more about, the unit economics and more about the founders and introduce you to them. But I think this could be a really intriguing model for that kind of a mindset to at least explore. What do you say, Heather?
Yes, I love that. It's something that you just take that opportunity, go through process, gather enough information to make a well-informed decision for yourself, and then we all know on both sides.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be a yes, but keeping an open mind, and you might actually find an opportunity here that will, really just be like, I can't believe. And all your family and friends may not think that line striping is like sexy, but on the flip side, they're going to be like, how did you even hear about that business? And that's when you're going to say, oh, you got to go talk to Kim Daly. I'm just kidding. So for those of you who this conversation has inspired, if you have that pioneering spirit and your interest is a little piqued and you want to learn more about this particular business, please follow the email on the screen right now or reach directly out to me at inquire@kimdaly.tv. That's inquire@kimdaly.tv. Heather McPherson, thank you for always being my very special friend and my very special guest.
Oh, it's an honor to be your friend, and you are my inspiration, Kim Daly. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Until next time, my name is Kim Daly, and I want to be your Daly Coach. If you found this inspiring, please contact me at inquire@kimdaly.tv. My consulting services are totally free to you. Again, that email is inquire@kimdaly.tv. I can't wait to hear from you.